And we are going to go ahead and get started. So, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for our brand refresh session. My name is Brenna Smith. I'm the communications manager for gshom. And I have with me Kat Bilo, who is our fabulous graphic designer, and Kate Slapchuk, who is our digital media specialist and the queen of our social media. So, we're going to be sharing a little bit with you about our new brand. So, you may have noticed that we have kind of a fresh look on social media, on the printed materials that we're producing, our photography, our voice, all of that has kind of changed a little bit. And well, a lot actually. It's significantly different from what you used to see from us and from Girl Scouts as a whole. And so we're just going to kind of talk about that in light of what we've learned yesterday through our main kickoff session. And then, what that kind of how it relates to you as a volunteer. So I love a super interactive session. So if you have any questions at any time, feel free to pop it in the chat. Feel free to unmute and ask any questions. I definitely like to keep it fun. And if I get really excited, I'll have to take out my Girl Scout pom-pom. So just be ready for that. All right, so today we're going to talk a little bit about our brand purpose, our verbal and visual identity, and then we'll definitely have time for some questions, some discussion, all of that fun stuff. So first, I wanted to start by talking about what actually is a brand. A brand is kind of one of those like fuzzy words that gets thrown around a lot. To some people, it might be a clothing brand. To some people, it might be, what consists of a logo or what a company looks like on social media. But really, when you boil it down, a brand is a promise performed consistently over time, meaning that everything that we do as an organization is part of our brand. So us as staff members, how we go about our day-to-day jobs, the things that we produce via email, on our website, on social media, even down to the way that we pick up the phone and say, "Hi, thank you for calling Girl Scouts Heart of Michigan. How are you doing today?" All of that feeds into our brand. On the same token, all of you as our super valuable, cherished volunteers are a huge part of our brand because, you guys really are the lifeblood of our organization. You are the boots on the ground, so to speak, and really bringing our brand, our organization to life. And so when we talk about our brand, I want us to think about it in this sense. Our brand is our promise performed consistently over time. And that promise that we're making it really goes back to those foundational elements, the 3 processes, everything we talked about yesterday during the main kickoff event, which if you were not able to join us yesterday, that recording is up on our YouTube channel already. Thank you, Kate, for being a wizard. But you should definitely check that out because that session really dives deep into what it is that we make a promise about when we collectively as a Girl Scout family are interacting with potential new members and with each other. So when we look at it from 10,000 feet up, our brand purpose, why we exist, is to champion girl ambition. So we as Girl Scouts, we as the adults, so to speak, who are part of Girl Scouting, this is why we do what we do, because we believe in championing girl ambition. Whatever their dreams are, whatever their big, hairy, audacious goals in life are, we are the champions of our girls. And so this goes right alongside with our mission. So our mission is what we do. This is our mission statement that I know you all are so familiar with and could probably recite in your sleep, that we build girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place. And so that's what we say out loud externally. That's what you'll see on our website. That's what we tell people when we talk about what we do as Girl Scouts. The purpose, the why we do it, that championing girl ambition piece, that's more about the internal, what drives us, what keeps us pushing forward. So this phrase really is an internal phrase that we're kind of giving you all the inside scoop on, since you are our valued volunteers. So you won't ever see, a t-shirt, for example, that says champions of girl ambition, or you won't see this on a social media campaign for recruitment that we're the champions of girl ambition. This is more so just that internal driver. Before we move on though, so we've talked about the what we do, our mission, we've talked about the why we do it, our purpose. I would love if anybody would like to unmute or put it in the chat box. This question I have down at the bottom right, what about the how? How do we do this? I would love to hear your answers or thoughts about that question. How do we build girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place? Girl-led, yes, Valerie. Cooperative learning, yes. We go to camp, yes. You guys are all like right on. Really what I'm getting at here with this question, oh, we've got more, I love it. By having well-trained volunteer leaders who mentor a girl-led environment. A+ for you, Susan. Yes, yes, yes. Betty says, by providing girls with exciting activities which are fun and involve them. Absolutely, yeah, you guys are on it. You guys are 100%. Everything we do, yes, Katrina. Really the what, or I'm sorry, the how is those foundational elements, those three processes. Everything we talked about yesterday, that's the how. And that's what we all implement anytime we are working with our girls, anytime we are implementing our Girl Scout leadership experience. So I kind of wanted to just draw that line really clearly between these three things: the what we do, the why we do it, and the how we do it. Because you all as volunteers are super instrumental in that how part. So when we talk about championing girl ambition, this is really rooted in our brand values. So our brand values are these 5 items. Self-expression. We want our girls to feel really confident in expressing themselves, what they think, how they feel, what they've experienced and what that has been like. We want to have a really strong community where we all truly feel like Girl Scout sisters and part of a Girl Scout family that is nationwide, a worldwide experience. Discovery, we want girls to feel empowered to try new things and discover who they are and what they want to do when they grow up. All of those fun things, different things that they maybe haven't experienced before, hobbies that they can try. We believe deeply in inclusion and making sure that we are in an inclusive organization that spreads our arms open wide to everyone who wants to be a part of Girl Scouts, because everyone has a seat here at Girl Scouts. And we believe in integrity and doing the right thing, even when no one's watching, just because it's the right thing to do. And so our brand, this is what you'll see reflected in our brand when we're talking about our voice, the voice we use when we're writing content for Girl Scouts, how we speak to girls. You also should see it in every single thing that we do, with each of you as volunteers, with each of us as staff members. These core values are who we are. And so one important note is that a brand's purpose is not a tagline. So our purpose to champion girl ambition is not something, like I said earlier, that we're going to plaster on a t-shirt or put up on a billboard. And we just have 2 examples here from Apple and Nike, which are 2 iconic brands. Their brand purpose is for Apple is to empower creative exploration and self-expression. Now, that's not what they put on their promotional materials, right? What you see from Apple is their tagline, think different. For Nike, their purpose is to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world, whereas the tagline is just do it. So that's kind of the difference there. And I just wanted to draw that out so that, again, we're not going to say, we are the champions of girl ambition. That's just what drives us. That's just what keeps us moving forward. So again, championing girl ambition. This is our reason to exist. This drives every decision we make as staff, as volunteers. This drives every action we take. This inspires who we are as a brand. And really, this goes down to our ability to change the world, because we know that girls are who will change the world. And that's why we believe so deeply in being their champions. So a few items of part of our brand, the whole purpose behind refreshing it is that we want to make sure that we continue to be a relevant brand for girls. So some of our older materials are fairly juvenile looking, a lot of primary colors, a lot of like warm, fuzzy. I'm not going to go too deep into that because we'll talk about that a little bit in the visual identity piece. But the concern was if all of the things that we're creating that, as part of our brand are really geared towards very young girls, then as girls grow older, will Girl Scouts continue to be relevant? And so there are a few different goals that go along with this brand refresh. One being balancing our legacy with our future. So we do not want to lose our amazing history that we have as an organization. We have been the champions of girl ambition for over 110 years this year, this coming year. And we want to make sure that we maintain that legacy while also continuing to be an innovative brand moving forward. We also know that many of us and many of you can absolutely relate to this. Girl Scouts is not just Girl Scouts is who girls are. It's who all of us are. It's not just something that we do. I am a Girl Scout. I don't just work for Girl Scouts. You are a Girl Scout. You don't just volunteer for Girl Scouts, right? This is really part of who we are. It's part of our own identity. And we also absolutely want to continue to stay committed to making the world a better place. So a couple of staggering statistics. By age 6, girls do not think that they are as smart as boys. More than 50% of teenage girls feel pressure to be perfect. Not just good, not just great, but perfect. 8 in 10 girls want to feel more confident in themselves. 8 in 10, 80% of girls wish that they were more confident. But I have good news. All of that is sad news, right? It puts a little pit in your stomach, right? But the good news is that that's where Girl Scouts comes in. We know that the girls of today, they are changing the world as we speak, because they state their opinions and they challenge conventions. They make reforms instead of just conforming, and they really are changing the world. And what we know about our brand, about Girl Scouts, is that we stock her toolkit accordingly by giving her the skills that she needs to then go out and change the world. And we cheer her on every single step of the way. So you can really see how this all ties in. For decades, we have had badges and patches that girls can earn that show that they have gained this expertise in an area, right? Like gaining these skills, these life skills, these lifelong friendships. This is part of our DNA. So we, okay. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself, getting too excited. You guys will probably catch on. I get very nerded out and enthusiastic about all of this. So I get a little ahead of myself. But our new brand identity. So for this part, we're really going to focus on what we as a council produce for our external components, like our flyers, our social media graphics, our photography, that kind of thing. And so we've already kind of talked about our values, the tenets of who we are. We'll talk a little bit about our voice, and then all of these aspects, well, most of these aspects. I took out some of them because it was getting a little bit too nerdy, too nitty gritty for what is helpful for you all. So I shortened it just a little bit, but all of this adds up to our brand identity. So what we look like. So this is an example of our Girl Scout voice. And I know you all are perfectly capable of reading, but it's just really powerful read out loud. And so I am going to read this slide out loud. And this is written towards a girl. So the audience is the girl. You are what Girl Scouts is all about. Your dreams, ideas, and ambition are our DNA. Want to shoot a movie, build a robot, speak up for what you believe in, plant a garden, help others, or change a law? We've got all the tools you need. Is the world getting you down? We're not only here to lift you up, but also to guide you in growing the confidence to rise above. Whether you're climbing to the top of a tree or to the top of your class, being a Girl Scout will get you there. Because Girl Scouts isn't just another activity, it's a way of life. It's part of who you are. So in this, you'll see, oh, Kat's got her pom-pom out. In this, you'll see that this really calls out not only the what, the different activities we're doing, but we're being very direct in saying that we're here to empower our girls. Like that's literally why we exist, no matter what it is that she wants to do. And that, we are here to guide her in growing the confidence that she needs to rise above. Not that we, as a brand, as Girl Scouts, are lifting her up. We're just giving her the tools she needs to lift herself up. Man, that is powerful. Like that gives me goosebumps every time. Because again, what I mentioned earlier, Girl Scouts is not just another activity. It's a way of life. It is who we are. Another example of our brand voice comes directly from our amazing visionary founder, Juliette Gordon-Low. The work of today is the history of tomorrow, and we are its makers. So bold, so direct. This is who we are, and this is always who we've been. So our tenets, these are the different themes that you'll see in our writing: encouraging and earnest, emotive and substantive. So I have to remind myself that emotional, but also, emotional writing, but also with substance, because I tend to be a very emotional writer, right? And write all the details, but we're also wanting to really focus on the substance, the what are we saying? Thoughtful and unreserved, inclusive and uplifting. And this is the big one, bold and determined. And the reason that this is so important is that we really want girls to be able to see themselves in the words that we put out into the world. All right, and here I am going to turn it over to my friend Kat. Kat, take it away.
I guess I'll unmute myself, and I'm going to turn off the picture by me. Hi, everybody. I'm Kat, the graphic designer, and this slide is called All the Things. What you're looking at are logos of different parts of Girl Scouts that are either current or very recent. So it's confusing. If an outsider, this probably means something to all of us who's been in Girl Scouts for a while, but to the outsider, this is confusing. And when you think about what Brenna said, that a brand is a promise kept over time, what are we showing people when we come out with this logo for this thing and this logo for that thing and another logo for another thing? It becomes kind of not very cohesive. And when you think back to Nike has a lot of different departments. They've got clothing, they've got obviously shoes, they've got this and they've got that. But what do you see when we see Nike? We see the swoosh. And what our new brand is doing is we're getting rid of all the gobbledygook, which makes sense why it existed, but it wasn't helping us. And we're using as our hero image, they're calling it, just the trefoil. And it's a solid trefoil. You'll notice our new logo does not have the profile trefoil in it anymore. That's being archived as a historical item. So what we're doing is making it so the outside person, the people we want to learn about Girl Scouts, they're going to see the trefoil and they're going to go, that's Girl Scouts, and this is what they mean. This is what they stand for. And it's going to be very obvious. Now, this is a process that takes time. But eventually, with this brand that is keeping its promise over the long run, we're going to have a brand that isn't just cookies and crafts to people. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of people still think we are. And we all know that that is not what we are. We are an amazing organization that does so many awesome things for girls. And to relate that, we're just cutting out the riffraff and coming down to just the trefoil. So you'll see that in our materials more and more. And am I forgetting anything about this slide, guys? Because usually I do forget stuff.
No, I think you're good.
Okay. So what's really exciting, because I've worked for Girl Scouts for 11 years, and green is our branded color. I mean, we've got a copyright on it. But what's super exciting is the new brand is going to accept the trefoil in different amazing colors. So you can go to the next slide. Ta-da! This makes a graphic designer's heart just want to explode, and mine does. So again, because this is a slow process, we're building this brand, taking care of the promise over time. Out in the public at first, we might still use the green trefoil the most because that's what people identify. But as we build on this brand and make people more comfortable and get it in their heads what we are, we will start showing the different colors. And that is just super exciting to me. And I hope it's fun and exciting for you guys. The nice thing about this color palette is we still have the bright colors, and they call it playful here, and that is the most suitable for younger girls on the top row here. Then you can use the little bit more muted pastels combined, and that's a youthful but a little bit more sophisticated palette. And that would be where we would want to move for older girls to get them engaged in our brand. And then you can get super sophisticated for our alumni, adults, potential volunteers, you guys. That looks pretty sharp, those color combinations. So we can play, we can use photographs in the trefoil, although they haven't in this example. We can't put wording in the trefoil, that's against the rules, but photos are okay. And again, it's exciting, and it's going to engage our community and the people we want to invite into our community a lot more. It's going to keep us more up to date and relatable to the girls, I think. So you might notice a few other items in these images. So if you go to the next slide, we'll talk about the next fun thing, are the shapes we're using. And all of these, if you're paying attention, are the shapes of our patches and badges. And those, for forever, maybe not in these particular shapes, have always denoted or pictured the achievements of our girls. They work hard to learn things, and they are proud to display their badges. And as a tribute to that, we're using the shapes of those badges in our artwork. And it's a nod to our history. It's a nod to girl achievement. And it's just plain fun. So a lot of our imagery will go inside of these shapes. They can be any of the color combinations. Some you can just make bigger, others you can kind of expand one direction or another. There's a lot of leeway for different things, but in the long run, it's consistent. I mean, how many? There's 6, 12, there's 16, is that right? I'm a graphic designer. So using 16 shapes plus the trefoil, we're having lots of fun. We're being cool, but we're also being consistent. And after a while of using these things, our public, who we desperately want to understand what Girl Scouts is going to go, hey, that's Girl Scouts, and that's what we want. So unless I forgot anything else, I think that's it. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Kat. So up next for photography, Kate, our digital media, social media guru, also doubles as our resident photographer. So she's gonna chat with you about photography.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kate, also known as Shutterbug if you're out at camp and you see me taking pictures. So photography is definitely my passion project, or my favorite aspect of everything, because really where you get to showcase the girls and the activities that they do. So photography plays a really important role in our storytelling and her storytelling. So, we will always aim to portray girls and what they're doing at that time. And our approach to lifestyle photography will be about capturing girls in a way that they can relate to and be inspired by, especially our little ones. They look up to, like our juniors and our cadets. And that's really important and something that we are always trying to focus on too now, moving forward, obviously. And by doing this, we'll be showcasing a range of identities and complex emotions. It won't always be just girls, with a big smile. They may look confident and courageous in the pictures, and, real feelings in the moment, because that's important to acknowledge the girls and their emotions as well. So everybody should be portrayed in our pictures, and also showing the girls together and representing community and sisterhood in real environments. I don't know how many times I've taken pictures and they're in the source or in their slideshows, and people look at it and they're like, oh, that's my girl on that picture, or oh, that's my girl on that sailboat, yesterday. Those kind of things is what bonds us all together in community and really draws us all together to, tell the stories more and get out into the community more and showcase what we are. And there will be more in showing motion and action and also that as well. So I know it's not always the easiest to be a photographer and a Girl Scout leader and a volunteer at every troop meeting, and trying to make sure you get enough pictures of what the girls are doing at every activity. So I would encourage you to also keep a girlette. My first camera was when I was 14 years old, and I started taking pictures at all of our troop meetings. And I have folders upon folders filled with Girl Scout pictures and printed pictures from before then with disposable cameras. So that's something important to keep in mind too. If you're like, I'm too flustered to take pictures, we as marketing always appreciate getting pictures from you guys, and they do the best on all of our social media platforms as well. So don't ever hesitate to reach out to us and send pictures along to us as well.
So this is an example of kind of all of these things put together. So like this photo, which is in the shape, shows girls in action, doing all of the things that we talked about. Like, they are changing the world. They're standing up for what they believe in. You can see over here, similar, shapes and the color swatches all combined. And so this is what it looks like, kind of all put together. And the verbiage on here of protecting our planet, that's Girl Scout law. That's the powerful, bold, little sassy voice that is who we are as Girl Scouts. So with that, that wraps up everything we wanted to chat with you all about today. One thing that I think is the most important, the most critical part of our brand is all of you as our volunteers, because really we couldn't do this whole Girl Scout thing if it wasn't for all of you and everything that you do for our girls. So on that last slide, we had our email, which is really easy to remember, marketing@gshom.org. And if you ever have photos that you would love to share with us, we always love, catching up with what you all are up to with your troops. Those photos that Kate mentioned, absolutely. I think what she said about keeping it girl led is so awesome. And it can be a really fun way to, particularly for older girls, like give them the ownership to, have their phone present if it means they're taking photos of what they're doing, that kind of thing. Because I know that the phone thing can be a bit of a struggle. So yeah, that's all we have. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, Susan says, thank you for covering all the brand identity facets. It will help us to promote the right messaging and be consistent with our handouts and materials. Templates would be awesome for our toolkit. Yes, Susan, I'm so glad you said that. And actually, Kate and I are going to be co-hosting a session tomorrow night called Social Media Guru Bootcamp, which I realize sounds a little intense. I promise it will be fun. But we are going to talk about, our social media toolkit that we have online on our website. And if you were at our main session yesterday too, we talked about the specific flyers and bookmarks and all of those things that we have coming down the pike. So I definitely want you guys to feel that, we are here to create these things. You don't have to worry about creating the look and the graphics and that kind of thing. We are definitely here to support you in that. But we wanted you to know, kind of the inside scoop, because I think it's really cool. Well, any other questions or things we missed? Yeah,
I'd like to just add that even though we're happy to make these, we will be making these things. If anybody ever has an idea that they want to toss around with us, feel free to ask us on the marketing inbox. Because sometimes we get so busy, you might have an absolutely astounding idea and we just didn't think about it. So we always welcome that. We welcome the input. Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's a couple of questions about the order forms and how we can get flyers and such. So flyers are ready to be printed. So you can either get with your membership specialist. I believe that's where the order form should be sent. Or if you, give your local regional center a call, our help desk team is amazing and they're definitely willing to help and get materials ready as well. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody.